Welcome to the Center of Light Radio with spiritual teacher, intuitive, musician, composer, and best-selling author of The Divine Principle, Anchoring Heaven on Earth, your host, Keith Anthony Blanchard.
Coast to coast, pole to pole, all around the world on the internet. Thanks to the marvel of technology, I'm coming at you live from a little guest house in Memphis, Tennessee. This is Keith Anthony Blanchard, and you are listening to Center of Light Radio, Center of Divine Unfoldment and Reinforcement, radio for the soul and the transformation station. I had a fantastic time this weekend at the Memphis Metaphysical Fair. Lots of really good things came out of that experience for me. As soon as I walked in on Sunday morning, there was a filming crew there. And they looked at all the vending booths, and I just so happened to have the word transformation on my table tent, so to speak. And they invited me to be one of the major players in an upcoming documentary made out of California by some people who are rubbing elbows with lots of big people. This is a major documentary, and it's going to be titled, I believe, Mind, Body, and Spirit Saying Yes to You. And so as soon as I got there in the morning, I had this amazing window just open up. Very, very cool. But I gleaned a lot of things at this fair. I think Center of Light is now becoming very, very present with a lot of people who came in from out of town. Everyone is starting to move to the rhythm of Center of Light Radio, and I'm really, really digging that. Kenneth Pass, let's go back to Kenneth Pass. He was a recent guest on Center of Light Radio. He tells me during this interview that he was abducted on a camping trip, hiking trip, and picked up and brought back, listen to this, y'all, I know it's hard to believe, but I tend to believe the guy, I do, 10,000 years. And he was with these alien beings for 2 years-ish. And while he was with these others, they got him upset one day. So he took a piece of their powerful technology and hid it in Arizona somewhere. And if you're familiar with Prophecy Rock, the petroglyph that you see on Prophecy Rock, Kenneth swears that that is him and others coming out of the craft. So the gig is he wants to go back to Arizona after 10,000 years to find this piece of technology and bring it back to the Hopi and the Pueblo, because he says they will know what to do with this technology. So we want to raise money for Kenneth. We need about $500. We're almost there. A couple bucks if you got it. The gig is Kenneth's a very simple guy. He doesn't drive anywhere. We want to put him on a bus, take him back to Arizona to find this artifact so he can bring it to the Hopi. And he's going to log his experience and make for a part 2 on Center of Light Radio. Wow. So I'm looking forward to that. So if you go to centeroflightradio.com, once the page settles, and there's a flying saucer that's going to whiz across the street, of course, when it settles, you'll see a donate button. Click that thing, and let's get Kenneth to Arizona, wherever it is that he needs to go. Swamji Viswayogi, let me find my picture. I must have moved my picture. Anyway, Swamji Viswayogi, God-realized man from India. I had the blessed opportunity to interview him 3 times. This is going to be my 3rd. And as I always say, when you're in the presence of a lumen being like this, wow. It's something to be felt, not something to be spoken about. That's for sure. Stay tuned for that information. I do lots of things, lots of services. You can go to Center of Light Radio. I do speaking engagements, spiritual readings, life coaching, as well as removing dark entities from your house. And this is no joke. When they're in your home and making you upset and you have no peace, I will not leave you until it's done. Until we remove those and your house becomes a home again. I will not leave you. I will stay there for the duration. And I promise you, I come with a bag of tricks. I come with some powerful spiritual arsenal, as well as speaking with you about self-reflection as to why this has been brought into your experience. And we'll make sure that they scram. If they're squatters and they're not paying rent, let's get them out. Let's get right down to Center of Light Radio business. If you want to call into the show, 888-919-2355. 888-919-2355 is the number you dial to get on Center of Light Radio to speak to my awesome, powerful, doing her work guest, Kristie Reeves. Today's show is going to be titled Indigo and Rainbow Children and the New Golden Age. Kristie Reeves is an actress, producer, international speaker, and author. For the past 6 years, she has been producing and interviewing on the series The Children of the Rainbow, a documentary series about the new generation of indigo, crystal, and rainbow children. She is also the host of the radio/TV show Rebel Hearts with Kristie Reeves. I've seen it. It's very finely done. It's very, very finely done. At UBN, Universal Broadcasting Network. I'm going to let Kristie tell us where we can. I think it's KristieReeves.com, and that's KRISTIE Reeves, REEVES.com. Welcome to Center Light Radio, Miss Kristie Reeves.
Thank you so much, Keith. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. It's so great to be back here with you.
Well, you deserve it. That's exactly who you are and what you're doing.
Thank you.
So what is going on with you? Give me an up. Actually, let's step back a bit. Last time I had you on Center of Light Radio, we did talk about the gifted children, the children of light, the rainbow children, crystal children, indigo children. What has changed in your findings, your discoveries? You're working with children and you're talking about it. What is now going on with these children of light?
I think there is a big energetic shift that's been happening. A lot of these kids are coming in, and I feel that we're really ready to create this change or to accept the change, even on an adult level, because most of these kids are still very young. So even the adults I feel like people are really looking for solutions. They're going, okay, I have this awakening process, or I see what is going on in the world, and I'm really, really wanting to change something. And to give you a little bit talk a little bit about prophecy, if that's okay. There is something called the prophecy of the four direction. And it's an old prophecy, and the Hopi say it's my prophecy, the Navajo say, oh no, it's our prophecy. So the prophecy has come from different cultures. And pretty much what it is about, it's the story about how the Creator created humanity, humankind. And then there came a time when humans were sent to the four continents of the world and the four directions of the world to experience and to learn, to evolve. And the great Creator gave every single one of these four direction specific teachings to learn. And there would come a time, according to prophet, when the fish are, and that's where the words of angels will come together from the four directions and reunite in order to bring in a new era of peace, a new era of unity, of harmony and understanding, and it will literally change the human race. And according to other prophecies, the time is now, the time has come. And, like I said in my show, the ones we've been waiting for.
Kristie, I hate to ask you this, darling, but for the last couple of paragraphs that you gave me of your presentation, we had some digital pixelation. So let me ask you again. Thank you for your patience. What is going on that is now different in your discovery about the children of light?
I feel humanity is ready. I feel that everything that is happening on this planet and this world right now, we are really going through an awakening process, realizing that we cannot sit around and wait for others to do the job, that we are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the ones who need to step it up. And we call it, we are in a Messianic Age. And the prophets, the mystics of the Kabbalah talked about it. Several Native American prophecy talked about it. Or even the Vedic Indian traditions talked about it, that there would become a time that is called the Messianic Age. And in the past, there was a Messiah, a teacher who showed up to create great changes, such as Buddha or Yeshua or even King Arthur reuniting England. And in the past, it's always been one person who created that change for others. And the Messianic Age that we moved in, the difference is that it's not going to be one person who's going to save everyone, or it's not going to be one person who's going to create the change. We are becoming our own Messiah. And we are being asked to be the ones to create this change on the planet. And I think that is the awakening that we have gone through, even looking at the political climate, looking what's going on in the world, where people are not sitting around waiting for the politicians to step it up and create the changes, but what the people are saying, hey, it's up to us to create some changes. And I think that is the big change that has happened since the last time I spoke with you.
I totally get it. And I think everyone in the world is looking for something. They may not know what they're looking for, but I can see it in their eyes that people are uprising, be it in a peaceful protest, and some are just flat out pissed off.
Mhm.
And they're both going toward the same good cause. But I totally agree with that. Does your show Rebel Hearts, is this about is it a general platform? Is Rebel Hearts always about the presentation and bringing forth knowledge of children of light? Indigo, let's call this an umbrella term, the children of light. Is this what your show's about, or is it about different things?
Originally, we were going to do the show about the Indigos and the Rainbow Children, but then I said, well, the Indigos are the rebels of the world. They're the ones who are creating change. So what we're doing on the show, we're talking about how we can implement change on this planet. The show is to empower people to really become, those change makers, the paradigm shifters, the rebels who are creating, a better planet, a better world. So
let me ask you that question. How can we bring about further change of global unity and peace and all these wonderful qualities that we know the prophecy of heaven and earth to be about?
I think there's so many different ways to go, but I mean, you're doing it with your show, you're doing it with your music, you're doing it with the work you're doing, and I feel every single person has a specific part of this and how they can contribute to that change. And I feel the biggest thing or the biggest obstacle that we have been facing, and it's something that the Rainbow Children and the Indigos are teaching us, the biggest obstacle that we are facing is that the systems, the authorities we had around us have been telling us, hey, this is what you should believe it, this is how you should live your life, or this is our expectation level that you need to rise up to. We are not being taught to listen within and find out, how can I contribute to the change? What is my mission? What is my passion? What is my contribution? What are my special gifts, my special knowledge that I'm even bringing in from other lifetimes? What is it that is so innately within me that I can bring forth in the world to create a better planet? And I think this is where the Indigos and Kristies are going, hey, look at us, this is what we are doing. Because these kids, especially the Indigos, we call them system busters. They don't submit to authority. They stand up, they speak their truth. They speak through lies. They don't say, okay, just because you're my teacher, you know more than I do, or you know better than I do. If I know something and I feel within that this is true, I will speak that truth and I will live that truth. I feel like this is how the Indigos and the Rainbows are guiding us and leading the way for the rest of humanity to awaken to their divine purpose, their divine mission, and this great inner truth that every single person on this planet harbors.
Do you think that these children, they've been coming in for quite a few years now, let's say the ones that are about 14, 15, 16 years old, that it's just possible they have piercing in every possible orifice on their body. They're splitting their earlobes to the size of quarters, tattoos, they're sticking pins in their eyebrows, through their nose. Do you think it's possible that they're doing this? One, because for self-expression. This is what I feel, this is who I am, this is what I like. But also maybe in the background, not with a negative, like they're trying to prove anything or rebel, but let's use the word rebel. That's the name of your show, Rebels. That they're doing is to say that you are not going to control me. In fact, it's going to be the other way around. I'm going to be such a heavy influencer. I'm going to take the lead and you're going to follow.
I think absolutely. I mean, I look at myself, I never had big piercings or tattoos or any of that kind. But I remember as a little kid, I'm an Indigo, and I'm really strong-headed, and I did not like authority. I did not like to be put in a box. I still don't like it. And I did not like to follow the status quo. So for me, it was a little bit on a different level, but I remember when I was a little girl, my mom would always put out my clothing in the morning. And if it was winter, I wanted to wear summer clothes. If it was summer, I wanted to wear winter clothes. I would always do the opposite of what I was asked to do. And it was not necessarily because I didn't agree or I thought this was flat out wrong. It was mainly, if the status quo said this is what I should wear, I don't want to follow the status quo. I want to differentiate myself from it. So absolutely, these kids that are trying to look absolutely different, it might be just part of their thing of going, hey, I don't want to be like everyone else. I'm here to change whatever the system is not working anymore. I'm here to change the systems. I'm here to change what the old paradigms are. And look at me, I'm so different from the old. I'm so different from the crowd.
So what was the first wave of children to come in called? Were they called the Indigo children, right?
Those were the Indigos, yeah.
And most of the second? Go ahead, darling. Please continue.
Right. And most of the Indigos started coming in the 1960s and 1970s. But I believe there are people who are much older, who have, like, that Indigo energy has been around. I mean, look at Henry David Thoreau, who was so rebellious, who went to jail because he didn't agree to what the government spent the tax money on. Or we look at Albert Einstein, who would nowadays probably be labeled with ADHD and all kind of behavioral and learning disorders. So we had some early Indigos, and then the big waves started coming in the 60s and especially in the 70s and 80s.
Who was the second wave of children? Was that the Rainbow and then the Crystal? Was that the order?
The other way around. First the Crystal and then the Rainbow children.
Is there a fourth wave coming in?
Yes, there is.
I mean, hang on. Let me leave that as a cliffhanger for a second. As I'm wringing my hands over here. So we have the Indigo, the Crystal, and the Rainbow. Does Indigo, Crystal, and Rainbow children still come in? Or now, because it's the third wave, that we're on the outro of the Rainbow, and yet the intro to this new wave of children called Go?
It's called the Diamond Children.
Ooh.
Ooh.
I love that. And so, tell me, I'm excited. What is the gig with this new wave of kids coming in?
I feel that from what I know, and what I've studied, and what I've read about, and what I learned about, a lot of these children have never been incarnated on this planet. So they don't carry our third dimensional paradigms and imprints, and they don't carry the pain that we've experienced for the past, 13,000 years of the third dimension. The separation consciousness, the wars, the destruction, the betrayal, the things that were out of integrity. These kids don't have these imprints.
So they're not coming in to work out anything. They come in here as a pure slate and start ready to kick ass.
Yeah.
You gotta love it. So they, like you said, they're not carrying all this old world paradigm, residual energy that, even though the Rainbow, Crystal, and Indigo children might be coming in and they may be illumined, and they are illumined, they may have some things to work out. But this new wave of kids, they're coming in divinely lit.
Yes,
wow.
Absolutely. And I believe they have extra strands of DNA. We've heard about the 12-strand DNA, and some of these Rainbow kids coming in with the 12 strands already fully activated in order to activate us who had in fact dormant DNA. But I believe the Diamond children actually have even extra strands, even more strands than the 12-strand DNA. And their pineal gland, if you think about, ancient Atlantis, our pineal gland was the size of a ping pong ball. And it was directly connected to our pranic pipe, so it was fed prana all the time. There were specific breathing techniques that the Atlanteans knew to keep that pineal gland widely open. And it started shrinking during the time of the third dimension. And now our pineal gland is the size of a pea. But I believe these Diamond children's pineal gland is much, much bigger than our regular human pineal gland, the way we've experienced it for the past thousands of years.
Have you met one yet? Have you met a Diamond child yet?
Yes, I have. And
tell me.
Oh, wow. And I'm seeing a lot of these Diamond children incarnating into parents who have done the work, so to say, who have a spiritual connection, who know how to connect to that child on a really deep energetic level, or at least have people around who are able to telepathically communicate with them. And a dear friend of mine whose friend just had a Diamond child, she can telepathically communicate with these children. And she said these kids come in, and even in the womb space, or even right after birth, they start their work, they start their job. They start educating the adults telepathically. They are bringing in wisdom. They're bringing in knowledge to help us shift into that new golden age that we're moving into. And it's so important that these diamond children, even more so than the indigos or rainbows, that these diamond children are surrounded by a spiritual community that can support them in their process. And that also maybe teaches them a little bit about how to cope with the current reality the way it is. Because these kids come in for the first time ever, and even though they're consciously chosen to be here, they come in this still dense vibration on planet Earth. So they need to have a very good support system around that can teach them how to deal with our 3D world as it's shifting fully into the 5D, and also how to protect themselves energetically, how to ground into the energy of the planet without feeling stuck, without picking up the heaviness.
So how old or how young would you say, no, let's go with how old. How old would you say the newest diamond child would be? I mean, how fresh and new is this wave?
I feel it's only been happening for the past 4, maybe 5 years, so it's we're pretty much at the beginning stages of that.
I'm just sitting here taking this all in because it's beautiful. It's constantly like, just when we think the beauty and the magic and the sweetness is, well, it's infinite, obviously, but we get complacent in our world sometimes, and it just keeps coming. It just keeps coming. It just keeps coming. That the beauty and the majesty and the glory and of God and all that is good just keeps showing up in the form of children with power. Mm-hmm. You know, you must be childlike to enter. So they're here literally to point the way and break the collective ego of the adult world.
Yes, absolutely. And what is really interesting, because I know a few people just birthed a diamond child, and I just had that conversation with a friend of mine who wants to get pregnant. And what I've been seeing is these kids have such a high vibration that the mother sometimes even has symptoms in the pregnancy because the vibrations are so different, and quite often they have to harmonize one another during the 9 months of the pregnancy. Otherwise, I've seen mothers having really morning sickness for 9 months straight because the vibration of the child is so high. But also the beauty is, once the mother and the child are harmonized in the womb stages, the kids, like I said, they often start teaching the mother during the time of the womb, and they're bringing these codes of love, of unity, of divine joy, of bliss, of like codes of knowledge. And I feel they're literally imprinting their parents even during the pregnancy stages. So it's really creating an awakening even for the parent that carries a child who is a diamond child.
From the chat room, Dee Dee asked a question. It's a little out there. Oh, in there, rather. Dee Dee asked a question. It sounds like Kristie implies manipulation on a grand scale for the human species. Does Kristie think the guiding hand is alien or a god?
I think we are all God. God is within us.
I think he was asking I love the answer, obviously. I think he was asking the question, do you think it was something other?
Okay. I think I have to answer this question by sharing a little something else first.
Dig it.
We are all star seeds. We are all star children. We even when Atlantis was created, the Atlanteans came from different planets. They came from Orion, they came from Sirius, they came from Andromeda, they came from Cassiopeia. We are all, every single being in this universe is a star child. We just have forgotten that we are star children. So we consider anything that is coming from a different planet, even these star children, as alien, as foreign, and it creates such a fear consciousness. And I love the separation, yeah. And like, the new golden era is about the unity consciousness. I'm not saying these are aliens, or there are aliens maybe invading our planet, or even the whole conspiracy and fear that is created about alien landings and UFOs and spaceships. We're all one. We're all star beings. So, and there are how there's star beings or extraterrestrials that have a malevolent agenda and a benevolent agenda, or like who are coming in to create peace and love and unity. But it's the same on this planet. You know, as star beings, there's star beings who have a really bad agenda and others who really want to just bring in peace, harmony, and joy and love, like you, for example. And so, you know, we live in a dualistic reality, so the good and the bad, the positive and the negative is all around us, no matter if it's on this planet or in this universe or in this dimension. So I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, I'm reading his comment to me. Thanks, KAB. Interesting. I think the question may be if we are native to this planet, but I'm sure he's applauding that answer because I sure did love it. Kristie, we are slowly but surely at the bottom of the hour. Would you give out your contact information, anything you want to share with our listening audience so they can find out more about you and the beautiful, powerful work you're doing there?
Thank you so much. My website is KristieReeves.com. That's usually the best one, KristieReeves.com. And it has a link to all kinds of things that I'm doing. It's currently being upgraded. So in a couple of weeks, the new site will be up. And then we have the childrenoftherainbow.org, where it has the links to all the shows I've been producing over the past years. And Rebel Hearts is on UBNradio.com and on iTunes and iHeartRadio.
Well, that's awesome. We just, it's Inception Radio Network, I think about 3 weeks to a month ago, just joined iHeartRadio as well. So it seems like things are picking up all across the board in the spiritual arena.
Yeah. That's amazing. And I feel like we're getting our voices out. Yeah. And like I said, something is shifting on this planet right now, even over the last year, where it feels like, okay, there's a mass consciousness awakening that is happening, where the masses are becoming receptive for the changes.
In my work, Kristie, the Divine Principle, when I was in 8 years of dialogue with my higher self, spirit, God, it doesn't matter what you call it, when I was in a dialogue with divinity, one thing that came through is something to the effect of, don't kid yourself for a moment, Keith. Many of these children are in waiting. And I said, basically, waiting for what? And I said, for the right time. And it was never really conclusive of what that waiting was. But alludes to the idea that there can come a moment when these children go into a mode collectively all around the world simultaneously and bring about something of magnanimous proportions. How do you feel about that idea?
I do totally believe that this can happen.
And that a lot of them are just divine children, rainbow, indigo, crystal, and or diamond children, but they really don't have, quote, an active part except to be part of the children of light flock. So the ones who are going to play the active role, let's just use this as a metaphor, wave their hands and make something magnificent happen. And the reason they're coming here by the many, and even though few may be those kinds of active participants, the others' purpose or to help the active ones be lost in the flock so they're not so easily visible. In other words, it's hard to find a handful of people in a crowd of millions.
Yes.
So I think this is does this resonate with your energy and your findings as well?
Yes, absolutely. And I've seen these kids work on such different levels. Like some of these kids are really doing what I call the underground work, and they're still doing the work. And others are literally in the public eye, where everyone knows about what they're doing. So I think they're working on all kinds of different levels. And also depending, again, on their soul plan, their soul mission, their soul purpose.
I think that you're I'm absolutely sure that you're definitely a front runner of the movement of children that come in. We can say many of us embody these qualities because of the work that we're doing. But looking at you and the fact that your life's work, your passion is about the children of light, that has to tell me that you are a front runner who are helping the kids arrive safely and feel welcomed and spreading the message. Is this probably more commonplace that people of our age doing what we do are actually of that wave, or you think it's just far and few between?
Both. And thank you for that. I mean, that's the reason why I've been doing this documentary series for the past 6 years. When I got it offered, it was just such a gift because I've seen it around where these kids are coming in fully activated, fully present, but like I said, they don't fit the status quo. So there is so much, I don't know, like somehow the feeling of feeling lost, not knowing who they are, or so many of these children, because they don't fit into the status quo, are being diagnosed or labeled, I should say, with a psychiatric disorder and placed on some psychotropic drug instead of having their gifts fully supported. So it's been my passion to educate the world about the Indigo and the Rainbow children and the gifts these kids have for the world in order to really be here and fulfill their mission. And then I feel like there are indigos that are maybe around my age who are doing certain things in the world, not for the children, but that is creating, let's say, technology or healing or whatever it is to heal the planet. And what I always say about the indigos, as indigos, we're born with a spear or a sword in our hand. We're here to go like this. Yeah. And tear down the old systems, and then these rainbows and even the diamond children are now coming in, and their path has been waved by the indigos. So that's the reason why these kids can do things we didn't do at their age. I see these kids who are 10. Amazing things on this planet. I'm like, yeah, no matter if it's physically or energetically. Where you see these kids that are creating technology.
Please repeat your last portion of what you said. We had some digital pixelation, and I think what you said is very, very important and integral to the message you're trying to bring forth. Thank you.
All right. So these children, because as Indigo have paved the way for the rainbow and the diamond children to now come in, no matter if it's on an energetic level or on a physical level, where we have created a different system for these kids to experience or grow up in. So these rainbow and diamond children who are coming in, they can really step into their gifts and step into their path. And we see it in these kids who are 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 years old, who are doing incredible work in this world, who are creating technology to clean up the oceans. Or there's a girl who I was just writing with her father earlier this year, who created a method to turn banana peel into fossil fuels. I just had this 19-year-old gentleman on my show who started an organization that planted 14 billion trees over the last 10 years. He was 9 when he started that organization. And there's 100,000 children in that organization. So we see these rainbow children who are fully coming and fully activated, and they don't have to tear down the system. They don't have to fight like us indigos did. They can just come in with their gifts and do their job of creating things, no matter if it's on an environmental level or on a healing level or on a political level.
I got the imagery when you were saying. I got the imagery of a metaphor of how it works, so to speak. The children are where we all come from, right? And creator or whoever is the manager with the clipboard says, Jack Doe, you got your mission. You know what you're doing. Yes, check. Jim Doe, check. Jill, check. All right, go. Everybody just comes down and floods the system. But you said something a moment ago that it sounded very ironic and paradoxical, and I think because of that, it's very magical. You said that we got the diamond kids coming who are illumined probably beyond, so to speak, all the children that are coming in as of to date, because they're coming in with no residual energy from past incarnations because they've never been incarnated before, so they're coming in clean. But you also said that they're coming in not knowing who they are. You would think if that they're that illumined that they would come in with full awareness of who they are intact. Is it because as soon as they get here, society starts dictating them who they are, church, religion, authorities, government, familial, peers, media? Is it because if they were left alone just to grow up on their own, their memory and their comprehension would be intact? Is it because they are so open that on so many layers and subtle layers that they're just getting bombarded and slammed with these ideologies of what we're telling them they are.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. These kids are so energetically sensitive and so energetically open that they really need to have a good support, but also a protection system. And have adults around that really know how to connect to them, so when they grow up, they're actually remembering who they are. And I feel every single child that is being born knows who she or he is. And you know, and if you have, I mean, you have a son. So when you have kids and you ask them, who do you want to be, or what is your vision? These kids who are like 3, 4, 5 years old, they have these amazing ideas, these amazing visions. And I used to teach little kids. I used to teach dance for many years to kids. And you would ask them a question, and there was no limit to their imagination. And something soul plan before we are being born. And I call the soul plan kind of the movie script for our life. What is it that we're here to do? What is it that we would like to experience? Who is it that we want to meet? And what is our journey on this planet? We write this movie script. And when we come in, we have the memory of it. But the older we get, the more we are actually being educated out of it. And for all, I think that's for all children, where we're being educated more and more out of our divine inner truth and being put into a little box. And some of us allowed that to happen, and then we are adults. Like one of my friends said, do you know what I was able to do when I was a little kid? I got educated out of that, and then in my 30s I had to relearn everything I knew how to do as a little child. And then there's other kids who will say, no, I don't do this. I won't do this. I won't adhere to authority, or I believe this is true and what you're saying is not true, or why are you teaching me these things? And then often these children are, if they have a good support system, then they can be nurtured into, growing up with that authenticity. But a lot of these kids these days are diagnosed with opposition defiance disorder, social behavioral disorder, ADHD, and being put on psychotropic drugs in order to make them conform. And that has been like one of my big missions, to say, hey, nothing is wrong with these children. They're not broken. They're not bad. They're just different. They're maybe just more authentic. They're not as obedient as other people are. They really just need to stand in their truth and have their truth acknowledged.
I absolutely love that, because I've been making a lot of posts here and there throughout the last couple of years since my son is in school. My son is a very phenomenal boy. He never causes me trouble, ever, 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 ever. But every once in a while, he'll have a mini outburst in school, and they kind of want to correct it. And I tend to have a really big problem with that. Mm-hmm. And I've come to realize that the children should not be learning the school system's way of teaching. They should be teaching the way of the children's learning. Mm-hmm. It's just completely backwards.
Yeah, it is. And it's interesting, I just had Diana Cooper on my show, and we interviewed her for the documentary series, and she said it's really interesting how it was done in Atlantis. When a child was born, that child came in with a certain mission, a certain gift, a certain knowledge. And the parents knew about that gift because they were connected to the soul of that child. So when the child would go to school, or even before going to school, the focus of not just the parents, but also the teachers and the whole community was in supporting that child to strengthen their gift and to grow in their gifts. And not say, okay, your gift is being a musician, and all you have to do is study math and physics and chemistry. But it was, if you're a musician, you're being taught to play music or create music or compose music from an early age. Yes, you still had to learn how to read and write, but whatever your gift was strengthened. And I think that's an amazing concept to look at, how can we create school systems or education systems that strengthen the gifts of the children. And nurture that. Yes, teach them what they need to learn in order to exist in this world, but also strengthen their gifts. And there's actually, you taught even about self-teaching. There's an amazing school in Russia called Tekos, Tekos. Google it if you don't know about it, people. And it is based on the Russian Ringing Cedar series, Anastasia, a book series by Vladimir Megre, where she says, where she's being asked, well, what is the system that we should teach our children? And she's like, the best system is no system at all for these kids. So what they did at TECOS is the children are self-taught. They have all the books and all the curriculum that they're supposed to learn in order to get a high school, what's equivalent to a high school diploma. But these kids can choose what to learn and when to learn. So there might be like an 8-year-old who's studying the math curriculum of grade 11. But that is what their passion is right now. There's no teachers in the school. The children teach each other. They have study groups where they teach each other the curriculum. And these kids do, I think it's an 11-year program that they have in Russia from primary school, including finishing high school. And some of these kids finish that 11-year curriculum in 3 to 4 years because they're self-taught.
I have a dear friend of mine. The music everyone hears for the intro of the show, there's 2 pieces of music. There's always the theme song, which is See the Light, and there's a song just before that. That is my spiritual band called Lavender Soul, which is members, myself, another person, the singer, and members of the Memphis Symphony Orchestra. The pianist, Angelo Rapin, my God, you have never heard anybody play a piano like this. He was from Romania. When he was 6 years old, they realized that he had this gift. So since 6 years old, he didn't have to worry about history. He didn't have to worry about extra oversaturation with English and math. Of course, you have to go through the normal requisite of all that. But he's a classically award-winning pianist who plays for symphonies around the world. I mean, they found his gift. And in America, at least, you just have to go through the system and, grin and bear it. And it's just tough. My son the other day, he's starting to say things. He's 12 now. But even though he's 12, most kids at 12 years old, they're really coming into their consciousness to where they can be witty. But he is starting to say things to me that's like, oh my God, did you just use that as a reference? And it's almost not like a double entendre. It's like a triple and a quadruple entendre that has all these myriads of meanings. Do you happen to know, Kristie, Dr. Nikki Elliott?
I don't know Nikki Elliott, no.
Do you live in Los Angeles? Where are you?
I'm in Los Angeles, yes.
She lives in Altadena.
Okay.
I'll figure it out.
Okay.
She works with children in an intuitive way, and she's very powerful. Oh my God, dear Lord, this woman is powerful. I want to connect you two. She would be phenomenal for your show.
That would be amazing. I would love that. Yes, thank you.
Absolutely. So, Kristie, what do you though we don't want to put things in a box, we don't want to limit it, but just from your intuitive feeling, your intuitive base, as you have been working in this field of spirituality with children of light, and you saw the progression of things, how they've unfolded, what do you foresee could be possible with this unfoldment and these new ways of children coming in? How do you see things playing out? Without pigeonholing, what do you see as a vision for this experience?
I feel that these children are really leading the way into the new golden, what we call the new golden age. And, the new golden age, it's at that age of oneness, overcoming boundaries, even health, healing, clean environments. And what I'm witnessing in these children, and even in my research, there's several different categories. There's the kids who are the environmentalists, who are creating things to clean up our environment. Then there's these kids who are artists, who you hear singing or playing the piano, and it does something to you. It just heals you internally, just listening to that. And then there's these kids who are creating other technology that, no matter if it's, in the IT industry, or even technology that might help us heal our physical bodies. And I believe that these kids really are leading the way into that new golden age, where we will return to that consciousness of oneness, of coming together. And what I love about them is they're really the way show. And I'm not talking about the 15-year-olds. I'm talking about even the indigos, the adult indigos who are in their 30s, 40s, or even 50s or 60s nowadays. And it feels like a lot of these indigos who are older, they have been, it feels like sometimes even as, we've been trying to open locked doors. It just wouldn't open. We've been shaking and rattling and shaking and rattling. And we could only create tiny changes, but not the big changes. And I feel like finally these doors are starting to open, where people who have been on this planet finally are given opportunities to anchor in the light codes they've been wanting to anchor in for a long time. So what I'm envisioning is really creating that new paradigm of what is possible, and these kids leading us to do that.
Here's a fun question. Who is the person, or is it the child or children, that deem themselves to be rainbow, crystal, indigo, diamond? Is there a person that oversees the board of this thing and says, oh, this is what we're going to call the next wave of children?
I just know about the term indigo, how it came about. So I can share that.
Please share that with me, please.
Back in the 1960s, 1970s, there was a woman named Nancy Tappe, and she was a therapist. And she had something called synesthesia. And synesthesia is when two senses are working at the same time. And she would see the world through color. And she had these group of kids that were coming into therapy session, and they all had very similar characteristics. And some of them is like that strong energy of defiance, not wanting to be boxed in, not adhering to authority the way other kids were adhering to authority, being so super strong-willed, but also being highly sensitive, highly empathic, highly connected. And she said that all these kids who had these characteristics had this indigo-colored aura. So she started calling them indigo kids just because they had an indigo aura. And that's how the term indigo kids was actually birthed. I don't know exactly who birthed the term crystals. I don't know who birthed the term rainbows. I first heard about it through Dr. Lorraine Butcher's work, and she said someone came up with the term crystal because these kids had these eyes, these big eyes that looked like crystals. And then the rainbow children had all the colors of the rainbow in the aura. And supposedly the diamond children have that diamond color in the aura and a little bit of that violet flame of Saint Germain as well. But it's mainly determined by the aura for these kids. And I cannot tell exactly who came up with the term. No one even, in all my research, I've never found out who came up with that term. So that's a very good question. But at least I could answer about the indigos.
Well, maybe now that we are moving very well into the golden age, the next children will be the golden children.
Yes.
Dig it. So there's no particularly any definite length of time from what wave of children that come in. Mm-hmm. It happens when it happens. When there's enough of them, then people are saying, I just saw 100 children with all the same color aura, so that must be a new wave that's finally landed on Earth. So let's call them whatever it is we're seeing in the auric field. Pretty interesting. Thank you for that. So what's coming down the pike for Kristie Reeves and Rebel Hearts? I mean, where do you have a vision of where this is all going to go? Of course, you're open to whatever's going to happen, of course. But where do you see things going for you, dear?
I'm so passionate about my shows that I'm working on. And then my dream, my vision has been to create a feature documentary about the topic. So I've been working on a treatment, I've been working on a script, I've been working with some people over here to turn all that information into a feature documentary and show these. I think it's going to be more about the rainbow children without calling them rainbow children, but it's going to be more about these children who are really leading the way, who are showing us, hey, if I'm at the age of 14 can do that, if I'm at the age of 9 can find an organization that ends up having 100,000 members to plant 15 billion trees, why can't you do that? Why are we sitting around waiting for someone? Come on, let's all get up. Let's all come together. Let's all create change. So that is one of the projects that I've been working on over the last, I said it last fall. I mean, it's been in the development for a while, but I really got working on it.
In the future, I still would like to chat with you and the other people you had brought into the circle about moving forward with the project you and I started to envision about the rainbow kids and make them superheroes with whatever, and we're going to leave that right there, and da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
But that would just be so fun if we still have that connection.
Absolutely. It's still on my to-do list. It's still on my manifesting and visioning list.
I get it. And I love that when I watch you, we're on video now, watch you, but also when I hear you talk and all the interviews you do, when I see you on your Rebel Heart show and there's in the Facebook stream, you are very passionate about what you do. And I did a lecture, not good word, presentation Sunday. And I talked about how passion is the fire. It's the drive. It's the roll up your sleeves and get your hands dirty kind of energy, right? And sincerity is that soft part. It's that soft part that says, I'm serious about this and I mean this. And when you put those two together, that male energy and that female energy, boy, something gets to happen. And I see that very alive in you.
Thank you.
Very alive in you. Because, in fact, I say, when I put something together and I want to create something, it is a fact. There is no way this is not going to happen. That doesn't even come up in me as a possibility. I think that you are sister in that way. Yes?
Yes, absolutely. And that's why I had to call my show Rebel Hearts, because it's the rebel with a heart.
I love it. I love it. That's the contrast. That's the fire and the ice. Dig it. Kristie, we are slowly but surely coming to the top of the hour. Where would you like to see the closing of this radio show? Give me some dialogue about what you want to express about the Children of Light and your work. Just anything you think that would take us out nicely.
I think I would love to send out a message of empowerment to the Center of Light radio audience. Does that sound good?
Yeah, please continue.
I feel these children are teaching us so much. Kind of what I said, these children are teaching us authenticity. They're teaching us to follow that inner voice instead of the external calling, the external paradigm, the external imprinting. These children are teaching us to be courageous, to go for our dreams and to do what is right for us. These children are teaching us that anything is possible, and they're really, really unafraid. They're really brave, actually. And I feel that every single person in this world, and just to trace it back a little bit, when we were talking about the Indigo, the Rainbow, the Christening, and the Diamond children, we're not creating another label, or only these children can do it, or these children are special and other people are not. It was mainly a mere explanation of certain characteristics certain children and adults have in order to understand ourselves better. I'm like, when I first heard the term of Indigo, it helped me to understand who I was and how I showed up in this world. But I believe every single person on this planet has a little bit of Indigo, Rainbow, Kristie, and even Diamond energy in there. Remember, we're all star beings. And that every single person is capable of implementing change on this planet. Every single person has the capacity to listen within, create their mission, follow their voice. And if we are when we are 100% in alignment with our divine inner calling, following our voice, we can create the most amazing, beautiful, and profound changes on this planet. So I invite every single one who's listening to this. Be brave, be courageous, be an indigo and a rainbow kid. Listen to that inner voice and see where it's guiding you.
Be a rebel heart.
Yes.
That was just beautifully said. I really took all that in. I was just drinking it like water. Very, very refreshing to empower everyone. And yes, and we do need to acknowledge that there are waves of children coming in with special gifts, but all children are special. And the fact that you mentioned that we all are this, we all are that, because it's just a matter of firing up the engine, wanting to fire up your own spiritual Ferrari engine, and hammer on that pedal and bring about things very fast, or whatever, in due time. But the metaphor is to get in the seat and drive your car.
Yes.
Well, thank you for being a wonderful guest, as always, Kristie, on Center of Light Radio. I'm looking forward to connecting you with Dr. Nikki. She is absolutely phenomenal. You're going to fall in love with her, and vice versa, that's for sure. So would you give out your contact information one more time so our audience can find more about you and the amazing, powerful work bringing these children through what can be a tough time. It's very, very gracious of you. Good.
Thank you so much for that beautiful message.
Yeah.
Yes, you can find me at www.kristiereeves.com. That's KRISTIEREEVES.com. Our documentary can be found at thechildrenoftherainbow.com. It also has the links to all the interviews where you can watch them. And I'm on ubnradio.com every Wednesday at 3 p.m. And the replays are available on my YouTube channel, Kristie Reeves TV, and on iTunes and as a podcast on iHeartRadio.
Kristie, thank you again. I appreciate you. That door is always open to you. And thank you for being a guide and a leader to help bring forth the divinity through the new wave of kids that are, they're coming in. And as older people die off and the new kids come in and everyone's becoming more and down, eventually everything's going to be filtered and heaven and earth is going to be the prophecy. And I bet all of us old people, when we leave, we won't be able to wait to get back to the new golden age. Again, Kristie, thank you, beautiful lady. I'll see you soon.
Thank you so much, Keith.
Love and light. Everyone, Keith Anthony Blanchard in Monday night, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. You can find me sitting in this chair conducting affairs of the heart. Center of Light Radio now partnered up. I don't know if that partner would be the right word, but we are part of iHeartRadio, and Center of Light has a few pieces of news that's going to be arriving really soon. So I was told by MJ Lucas, and he's not telling me yet. He's leaving me on the cliffhanger. I'm looking forward to it. Every Monday night, again, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. When you lay down at night, breathe. Do it consciously. Taste your breath. And once you breathe yourself through the ceiling of thought, the stargate's going to open up and a profound, deafening silence will fill your being. You will know you have made it. Peace, love, and light.